The Nautes pillar, or the Pillar of the Boatman, is a bas-relief with depictions of Gaulish and Roman deities on it, housed in the Musée de Cluny in Paris, France. This video is a tour of the column. We start with the top block of the column, where the god Esus is shown pruning the willow tree. Wearing a simple tunic and wielding either an axe or a billhook, the bearded figure is clearly attentive to his work. A mop of hair rests on his brow, and some drawings of this face suggest a leafy crown, but age has made it hard to determine if there is one, or if he just has curly hair. His name is carved into the stone above his head, his feet are entwined in the willow branches as he prunes them back. While the myth is lost, we know that the scene of Esus trimming the willow is related to the column face next to it, because the same figures appear on an altar to Mercury at Trier. The second scene, to the right of Esus, is Tarvos Trigaranus, the bull with the three cranes. Standing before a similar willow tree, the bull is shown with three cranes upon its back and head. The phrase, Tarvos Trigaranus, is written across the top of the block. Garanus refers to the cranes. One stands atop the bull's head, while the other two stand tall upon its back. The bull's face is wonderfully detailed. On the Trier altar, the bull's head is seen in profile, decapitated at the top of the tree, while Esus trims the branches. While the most common translation is cranes, it's worth noting that the birds are not sufficiently rendered to determine if they are actually cranes or if they are egrets or herons. The cranes themselves are easy to lose in the foliage. Around to the next side, we see an image of Vulcan, with his Roman name inscribed at the top of his image. He holds in his hands the tools of his work. In his right hand, he holds his hammer. In his left, his tongs. While Esus, the bull, and the cranes are clearly mythologically connected, the rest of the figures are less clear in their relationship. We simply don't have enough information to continue connecting the deities depicted on the pillar from here on. The final face of the top column depicts Jupiter, the Roman Jove, as his inscription indicates. It makes sense that he would be at the top of the column, as numerous Jupiter columns are found with Gaulish influences throughout the Roman frontiers. It's likely that his right hand holds a lightning bolt, but this part of the column is damaged, so it is hard to tell. The column itself is displayed in the museum in 4 parts. The next block, which rested under the top block, contains the most famous figure on the column, Cernunnos. Recognized immediately by his antlered head and the torques hanging from those antlers, his bearded face gazes out at us. This block is only a half block, the rest being lost or used to build another wall somewhere in Paris, so we don't know what his lower half would look like. Many speculate that, because of how large he is rendered here, he may have been shown cross-legged, as he is on the Gundestrup cauldron. The most important item for many people is the name across the top of this image. It is the only place that we see the name Cernunnos in an inscription, or indeed anywhere for sure. Around to the next side, we come to a depiction of Pollux, whose brother Castor will be seen next. The divine twins are both shown with their horses and armed with spears, and their horses are clearly individuals, so the sculptor took care to ensure that they look different, even though the deities are twins. Pollux's head is no longer visible, but his armor is, and it's a clearly Roman style. Around to the next side, we see Castor, whose name is visible at the top of his block. Dressed more casually, we can see that he wears the characteristic pilos, the remains of the egg the brothers were hatched from, atop his head. Again, you can see how detailed the horse heads are, and how different the two mounts are here. It is a shame that the rest of this block is missing. The detail and skill of the sculptor is apparent. The final face of this block is an image of the god Smertrios, appearing to wield a club and facing a serpent. Other interpretations of the iconography are worth mentioning. The god may be wielding not a club, but a firebrand. In early drawings rendered the serpent as another crane. In addition, when I first saw the serpent, I thought it was a bow. Smertrios is associated with the god Mars at a temple at Trier, but the club and the snake often lead to identifying him as a Gaulish Hercules. Without the rest of this block, though, we are unlikely to ever really know exactly what is going on. The third block is often called the dedication block, because it displays the dedication of the merchants who built it. It reads as follows. In the reign of Tiberius Caesar, Augustus, to Jupiter, the very good, the very great, the sailors of the territory of the Parisi, place this monument for the people. The remainder of the block is missing, so we have unfortunately no idea what was on the bottom half of this block. Around to the second side of this block, the most damaged face of the pillar appears to provide a scene of the pillar's dedication celebration. The inscription at the top is hard to make out, but at least one of the figures is often indicated to be female. The next side of the block shows the Euryces, men-at-arms with beards, carrying both sword and shield. They are named in the inscription at the top of the block. The next side shows men, similarly dressed, but younger. Two are clearly beardless, though the third individual is lost due to damage on the stone. The fourth and final block is also heavily damaged, but we're able to make out several Romano-Gaulish deities on its faces. The first face is a depiction of two deities, one on the right being the goddess Fortuna. We know who this is primarily because her name is partially written at the top of the block. The other deity remains uncertain. On the next side, we have Venus and another figure. On the left, the figure is often assumed to be Venus because of the cloth that is draped over her arms, that she is either pulling on or taking off seductively. The next face of this block is fairly well preserved. Often, it is assumed that the figure on the left is Mars, possibly with a consort goddess on the right. Finally, the last face of the last block appears to show a god and goddess. That horned hat that the god on the right is wearing is very often interpreted as the winged hat of Mercury. There is some speculation that the goddess may be the Gaulish Rosmerta, who is often seen with Mercury. Mercury's presence is not unexpected here, both because this pillar was raised by merchants and sailors, and also because, as I mentioned at the top of the video, Esus and Mercury are connected on other altars. If you go to visit the altar in Paris, you'll find it in the frigidarium of the museum. It's situated so that you can wander through it. A key note, both touching the pillar and flash photography are prohibited in the museum, but you can stand right next to these fabulous pieces and get a very good look at them. I hope you've enjoyed this little tour of the Nautes pillar. It's a beautiful piece of antiquity and vitally important to our understanding of the early interactions between Roman and Gaulish religion. Built sometime between 14 and 37 AD of local limestone, probably quarried about 20 miles north, the pillar was originally situated in the same location that Notre Dame Cathedral now stands. It was discovered in 1711 during renovations to the cathedral, and moved to the Palace of the Louvre in 1724. In 1795, it was placed in the Museum of Monuments of France, and then moved in 1816 to the Louvre Museum. In 1833, it was displayed at the School of Fine Arts in Paris, and was finally homed in the Musée de Cluny in 1844, and it has been there ever since. Thank you.